Hey guys, John here with Fury Training Concepts. Today we are installing an NMO style mount, a vehicle specific mount on our 2016 Chevy 2500 HD. So in this truck, we are going to put a Kenwood D710GA for our VHF, UHF amateur communications, and we're going to mount the antenna here on the fender. Now, there's all kinds of really good options for mounting your antenna. You can mount it on the roof, you can put it on the fender, you can put it on the toolbox, you can put it pretty much anywhere in the vehicle. But the most optimal place is actually on the roof of the truck. So we want to put it in the center of the roof, and that allows us to get a solid ground plane for that antenna. It allows that signal to radiate better, and it gets all of that vehicle as a ground plane underneath it. Now, there's some disadvantages to doing that. When you have it on top of your truck, you run the risk of hitting things. So if you're on the trail, you run the risk of hitting tree branches and ripping the antenna off. I've replaced antennas on vehicles for fire departments that went into a car garage and ripped the antennas off. That happens. You go through the drive-through, you hit things. On my work truck, it happens all the time. So what I prefer to do is actually mount them here on the fender. Now, the reason I do the fender is it gets that antenna down lower, I have the ability to put a taller high gain antenna on here, if you believe in high gain, for what that's worth. But it allows me to get better antennas down lower, so I don't worry about hitting the trees. It also gives me a gauging point, so if I have anything in the back of the truck, I know if my antenna taps something and leans back that I need to watch what's in the back of the truck so I don't tear anything off, like a tent, camper, whatever it may be that this truck ends up with on it. I don't know. So we're going to use this vehicle-specific mount. Now, this mount here is made by NCG company. So I have the little tab here off of it. This one is specifically made for the Chevy trucks. It fits the 2016 to 2019 2500 body style, at 3500 as well. And it'll a certain model of the 1500 category it will as well. Now, apparently it'll fit a 2020 and a 2021 Ford Explorer. I don't know. I don't own one, so I'm not sure, but that's what the label says. But anyways, this is specifically made for this fender. So when we say specifically made, that means it is cut here to follow this crease. Now, Laird and N10X, all these different antenna companies actually make mounts that you can screw on here. It has a little angle bracket, just similar to this. It's a little bit smaller, a little more flimsy. They work, they do the trick. The only issue you have with those is over time, those screws, while are loose, they end up when the antenna starts flapping around. And then, of course, you're taking the paint off, giving it another area of the vehicle to rust. And we don't necessarily want that. Now, we do want to try to get a bond between this and the body to get a better ground plane. But we want to make sure we're protecting our vehicle at the same time. So what we've done here is on this truck here, the 2500, there's several different holes of which you can work with off of here. Now, it's actually designed over here. There's a brace that runs over here. It's already bolted here. And then also the hinge mount that's up this way, there's a bolt. And this is actually designed to go into either one of those. Now, what I found out this morning when I popped the hood is there's already a hole here. It's not doing anything. I don't know what the purpose of it is. Chevy, I'm sure, has a reason, but whatever. It's here. So what I've done is the antenna mount was just a smidge bit short, so I had to put a couple spacer washers in here. I put one of those frayed edge locking washers on it that helps kind of take a little bit of the paint off, gives it a better bond, goes to the metal. And then we just bolted it on there. It took me like 3 minutes. It's taken me longer to film this video than it took me to actually mount this. Actually, probably took me longer to find the bolts and washers out of the shed than it took me to actually put it on here. So it's mounted on here. The only thing I don't really like about this antenna mount is it's not really bonded very well to the fender. So another option we have is probably drilling a couple holes here or up here and putting some screws to it to help hold it to it. We're not going to do that right now because I want to see how this does without it. We're just going to give it some time, see how it works. If we decide later on it needs a better bond, we're not getting a good signal, then we'll drill a hole there. We'll put a screw in it to help hold it to the fender a little better. So then we're going to install our NMO mount. This is a simple NMO mount. I ordered it off of eBay or Amazon. You can order them specific sites. Nope, wrong tab. You can order it from ham radio outlets, Gigaparts, all these different places. But I like to use the Browning NMO style mount. These are fully enclosed 3/4 inch hole mounts. And the reason I like this is because it's fully enclosed, just like it said on the tab. You see underneath here, this is all solid. I can take this little top piece off. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. When you buy the earlier model NMO mounts, and you can still get them online, so you got to look close when you order these. They're actually designed where this bottom piece isn't enclosed. the center conductor of the coax, or the feed line, whatever you want to call that, in the coax, actually is soldered to the centerpiece here, which connects to the center of the antenna. I'm not going to get into all that, but on those antennas, the way they're designed is you can actually see the piece of coax come out and soldered to it on the non-enclosed ones. And what you run into, especially on the Fender mount, is there's a little plastic piece that covers it, and over time it'll fall off. So then you're getting corrosion in there, you're getting dirt and all this crap. And I just don't like that. I want my antennas to last as long as it can, and I want to make sure that this does the trick. So I really like these fully enclosed mounts because it allows us to have a better coax, or better bond between the NMO mount and that coax. But it comes with 17 feet of coax on it. It has the connector already on it. This is the tricky part of the mount, is trying to get this through the firewall. I think on this truck we're going to have plenty enough grommet space to be able to pass that through. But the way it works is you just unscrew this off the top of it. Dun, dun, dun. And then here, I want to show you one thing. Hopefully you guys can see it. Yeah, there it is. There's two little holes on the top of this. This is a critical part. Most NMO mounts are going to have this. But basically the way it works is if you were going to put this in the body of a vehicle, you're going to put it in the roof of your truck. You would drill a hole with 3/4 inch NMO mount bit. You can use other bits, but I'll be honest with you, I would recommend an NMO style bit. They cost like 20 bucks. You can buy it and then share it with your friends. They will appreciate it. It works a lot better. But the way it works is that drill bit drills the hole in on the roof or wherever you're going to mount the antenna. And you just need a thin piece of metal to make the NMO mount work. So, I mean, you can see this is not very thick. I don't know what the thickness is, but it's not very thick at all. It's about probably the same thickness that this body is. So you just have to have a thin piece of metal. They do make NMO style mounts that go through thick metal. Different style, different design. Those work really well on the ARB bumpers where you have the thicker antenna mounts on the front. I found those style work a lot better. But basically you just put it in there. Then you take your adjustable wrench right here. And then I take this key pliers like here that just used for removing keys out of things. You can put it in here. You can use needle nose pliers if you have a set small enough. And then you just take your adjustable wrench and you just spin it around till you get it good and snug. You don't have to get it super tight. You just want to see, I'm moving that mount more than I'm moving the coax. And just like that, that NMO mount is on there. Super simple, super easy to do. At that point then we just kind of make sure our coax kind of falls in here to where this hinge here doesn't crease anything, doesn't tear anything up. Then we take our antenna and you mount it on here. So now you can do this we're putting on a Laird VHF UHF antenna. This has been a solid workhorse antenna for us since we got it. Since we're mounting it on the Fender, we don't have a spring in here. You can put a spring in here that helps with the flex of it, but with it being on the Fender and lower, I don't worry about that so much. But you can do NMO CB antennas. You can use this for your cell booster, your Wii Boost, Wilson Boost. You can get a cellular style antenna. Midland now, our good friends over at Midland makes a Phantom, which is pretty much about the size of this, that would mount here. They have a high gain GMRS antenna that works perfect for this. So you have all kinds of different options for mounting your antennas on here. You just want to make sure that when you buy an antenna that it is NMO specific if that's the mount you're using. Other options you have would be like an SO239. This mount will work with that. You just got to kind of know what you're doing with getting it in there and tightening it down just right. So then you can use the SO239 styles. Now, I would not recommend putting like an ATAS or a Tar Heel screwdriver antenna on here. Those things are heavy because they've got motors in them. This is not going to hold that weight very well. You could probably do it, but you're going to see that antenna moving a lot, and as expensive as they are, you don't want those just flailing around while you're going out. But super simple install here. I've got it already mounted up. We're going to give it a day or two. I got to go to work here shortly anyways, so we'll give it a day or two before we actually run the coax and get the radio installed. But I just want to take a minute to show you guys this. Hey, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Check us out. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button, as well as on Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you're liking us and following us, because we're hoping this summer to get a whole lot more of these videos out, along with our wilderness first aid, our stop the bleed kind of trainings. And as always, keep an eye on our social media pages for our upcoming wilderness first aid classes. We've got some really cool things in the works with our friends over at Blue Ridge, as well as like Lynchburg City Parks. So check us out. As always, I'm John with Fury Training Concepts. You guys have a safe day on that adventure, and we'll see you on the trails.